This video is part one of a tutorial for making an app where the user can paint. There are buttons to choose a color. They can tap on the screen to make dots, or drag their finger on the screen to make lines. This video will show you how to take the picture that you drew on paper, your paper prototype, and turn it into an App Inventor app. I am going to use this drawing. I will make my buttons below the canvas in 2 stacks. You should make your app look like your paper. Do not just copy what you see in the video. Ready to start? First, click Start New Project and name your app something that will help you remember what kind of app it is. I will choose Paint It. Then once your app opens, the first thing you need to do is to get a canvas. The canvas is the same component that the grapes moved around on in Grab the Grapes. But for this project, we will paint on the canvas instead of using an image sprite that moves. Grab a canvas and drag it onto the screen. Then we need to make the canvas much bigger so it takes up most of the space. You can set the height and the width to numbers like you did last time, or you can choose Fill Parent, which means take up all the space that is available. I will try that now. I will set the height and the width both to Fill Parent. Because there is nothing else, all of the screen is empty space, so the canvas will fill the whole screen. When I add other things, the canvas will get smaller to make room for them. Next, we need some buttons. You need at least 4 buttons, 3 or more for colors, and 1 to clear the drawing, to erase everything. Open the User Interface section and take out as many buttons as you need. See how the canvas gets smaller as I add buttons? And if I take them away, if I delete one, it gets bigger again. That is what Fill Parent means. Take up all the space that is available and be flexible if it changes. First, I am going to rename my buttons. I will give them new names because button 1 and button 2 and button 3 do not tell me what the buttons do. It will be hard when I am trying to make blocks to know which button is which. I will make it easier for myself by clicking a button, then clicking Rename. Then I will type a name like Red Button, something that tells me that this is a button and its job is to make the color red. You do not have to have a red button. You can have buttons for any colors. I am choosing red, blue, and yellow, but it is okay for you to choose other colors or to have more than 3. The 4th button is for erasing everything on the canvas. Sometimes we use the word clear to mean erase everything, so I will call this one the Clear button. Make sure you notice, when you change the button's name, that does not change what it says. But when you change the button's name, it does change what you see in blocks and what the blocks say. Now I don't have a when button 1 click block, I have when the red button is clicked block. That will be helpful. Now, I want to try to put the buttons all in a line next to each other. To do that, I need to add a new component. In the section that says Layout, I have choices like horizontal arrangement for putting things next to each other like this, and vertical arrangement for putting things above and below each other like this. Let's try a horizontal arrangement. Grab it and drag it onto the screen. Then drop it, and you will see a box. Pick up one of your buttons and put it inside that box. The box will get smaller, but I can still add more things to it. I can pick up a second button, hold it over the first button, over the horizontal arrangement box, and then drop it. And now there is room for them both. If I want to, I can put all of my buttons in the horizontal arrangement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I can put the color buttons in one horizontal arrangement, and maybe put my erase button somewhere else. If I wanted to do something like this, where the buttons are in a stack next to the canvas, I would need a horizontal and a vertical arrangement. Let's try that. First, I will take all of the buttons out, and then I will delete the horizontal arrangement. If you are going to delete one, it is important to take things out of it first, because if they are inside, they will also delete. Okay, now, if I want to put the canvas here, then a stack of buttons here, I need to first put the buttons in a vertical arrangement, like a box to hold them all. Then I need a horizontal arrangement so I can put canvas on one side and stack of buttons on the other. That will look like this. Now I need to grab this whole stack and put it inside next to the canvas. If you try something like this, and everything looks small and weird, you might need to tell it to make one of the arrangements bigger. Everything is inside my horizontal arrangement. I can tell because they're all indented and underneath. So I will click that horizontal arrangement and tell it to take up all the space too. Now I have a canvas and buttons next to it. Almost anything is possible with horizontal and vertical arrangements, but if you are stuck trying to make your design from your paper prototype, then please ask for help. The last thing to do before we go on is to make the buttons look nice. There are so many things you can change about each button. You can change the color of the button, background color. You can make the words on the button bold, so they are easier to read. You could make them bigger. You can change the font or the style of the letters. You can change the size of the button. You could put a picture on it. You can change the shape. If I pick rounded, now it has round corners. You can change the color of the words themselves. And of course, you can change the words that the button says. Take some time to design your buttons. Make them look the way you want them to. It is your app. As you are working, make sure you test your app on a device. It will not work yet, but it is a good idea to see what your app will look like on a device, not just on the computer, because it will probably look a little bit different. When you are happy with the way your app looks, go on to the next part of the tutorial to see how to start coding.